Good morning, and thank you for joining me. My name is David Godfrey, and we're here this morning to talk about drafting CLE materials that earn CLE accreditation. I'm with the ABA Commission on Law and Aging, and this is related to the National Aging and Law Conference. The 2019 National Aging and Law Conference is at the Marriott Crystal Gateway. We're just one subway stop away from Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. The hotel provides free shuttle service back and forth to the airport, and we look forward to seeing all of our speakers in October and early November. There are four things that we need from speakers. The speaker release form, which is an online form. Most of you have completed it. If you haven't, please do so. We have to have a release from everyone. It's an online form. There's nothing to print out or fill out or sign. It's just going through the online speaker release and clicking yes, that's fine, that you agree to be a speaker. We need you to register for the conference. If you haven't already done so, please do so. Written materials are due August 28th, 2019. Please email them to the address on the screen, aba-cle-materials@americanbar.org. If you want to copy me on them, that's fine, but please make sure you send them to the ABA CLE email address. They're the persons who actually compile the materials, put the book together. Every year, somebody sends them to me, and if I don't catch it and forward them to ABA CLE materials, we end up following up looking for materials that someone has already submitted, but they sent them to me and didn't copy that address, so please do so. The presentation PowerPoint is a separate item. You'll want to bring that with you, and there'll be a separate recording on creating good quality PowerPoints, and we'll talk, and that'll follow this one very shortly. For written materials, we need 10 to 20 pages per workshop or plenary session. That's a minimum rule of thumb, with substantive references and citations. Being that this is a national conference, we're drawing a national audience. We have to hit the standards for the highest states. And there are a handful of states out there that pay a lot of attention and do a lot of scrutiny to the written materials that we submit. They're looking for narrative text in the form of an article, a brief, or an essay. They're not looking for an outline. This isn't law school. They're actually looking for something that reads like a magazine or journal article. A good rule of thumb is 10 to 15 pages of material for every 60 minutes of presentation. So with our 60 to 75-minute sessions, the 10 to 20 minutes per session is a good rule of thumb. You can have materials from each speaker, or you can have joint materials, or you can have two sets of materials or three sets of materials, one for each speaker. We just need at a minimum 10 to 20 pages of written materials for each session on the agenda. The materials should include citations to substantive law, cases, rules, policy, standards, any other references that you'd normally put into an article that you were writing. We don't care about the form of the citation. They can be endnotes or footnotes or in-text citations, and they don't have to be blue booked or in any particular format. What we're looking for is citations that clearly refer to where do we find this information or material, that are easy to follow to find the material, the information or material that you're referring to. And we really aren't going to double check the formatting on citations. If the session is on ethics, we have two ethics sessions on the agenda this year. Ethics needs to be in the title, and the primary citations in the supporting materials need to be the ethics rules. It's a good idea to reference ethics in every session where they're appropriate, but if we're seeking ethics credit for the session, we have to get rather particular in making sure that we're citing to the ethics rules and that ethics are the primary content of the session. We can reprint previously published materials, either something that you have printed or you've written or something that someone else has written. On previously published materials, we need a release from the author or from whoever has previously published it giving us permission. There's not a form or a particular format that needs to be in. Frequently, it's just an email saying, I understand you're going to reuse these materials for the National Aging in Law Conference. You have my permission. Please feel free to do so. We can link to online materials. I just completed a set of materials that link to Chapter 4 of the Lawyer's Handbook for Assessing Capacity. I wrote about 3 paragraphs describing what's in that chapter, and then click here to view the entire chapter, and those 24 pages of materials count without us having to reprint those 24 pages. The other advantage to linking to online materials is we don't need a release for materials that are published online. Just make sure they're on a publicly accessible database. Links to Lexis and Westlaw won't work because if you don't have a Lexis or Westlaw logon, you can't get to those materials. We really appreciate you speaking at National Aging in Law Conference. Please email us with any questions, either the ABA CLE email address or myself or both of us, and we'll get back to you. And thank you very much.